Good morning. So I spent a little bit of time trying to dig up a picture, but wasn't able to find one in my books. I don't know, I've stirred them up in other places, but... So we started yesterday just talking about the order that God has. That there's godly order, and that our God is a God of order. And all things should be done decently in an orderly manner. 1 Corinthians 14:40. So now we're going to look at this order around the tabernacle. We're numbering all the troops, all who are able to go to war. Verse 3, it talks about the east side. Now, the tabernacle faced east. So I don't know which way east for you guys would be because the camera flips things. So, but that said, the tabernacle would face the east, the rising sun, just like the temple faced east. So if you go to Jerusalem and you go to the Temple Mount, you'll see that the temple is facing towards the Mount of Olives, or that's where the temple would have been facing, right? No temple there. And hey, encourage you guys, if you haven't thought about it, consider coming with us. Go to Israel and see these things. It's just a blast. We're going this fall. So on the east side is Judah, and next to him, Issachar and Zebulun. So there's 186,400 people mentioned in verse 9. And again, I'm going to chunk this section up, not read every single verse to you guys, but there it is, verses 3 to 9. It gives you each of the groups and how many people are there in each of those groups. This is the largest group, and it's right there by the gate of the tabernacle. Now, on the south side, so we're going to go around clockwise here, we have Reuben, next to him, Simeon, and then Gad. Then it gives us their number. And it says in verse 17, the tabernacle of meeting shall move out with the camp of the Levites in the middle of the camps. As they camp, they shall move out, everyone is placed by their standards. So the idea is that when they take off, that these guys are actually in a row so that they'll all march out together. So a little ambiguous. I don't think we could actually know for certain. But the idea would be is that going one way from the tabernacle would be the camps. So if the tabernacle's here, going outward away from the tabernacle, I've seen actually, I did find a picture here. I guess I'll show you guys this picture. But see, I didn't like this picture because I don't know if this actually makes the best sense. But Bible Knowledge Commentary is one of the best commentaries you can get. So when you guys look at this, and it's backwards, I know. But the idea is how they have the guys stacked up this way. The only problem is that the size of the tabernacle, that picture is really not proportionate. The tabernacle is a pretty small location. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of men ready for war. That doesn't include all of the wives, children, elderly. And so if you try to stack up, camp, if the tabernacle's here and you went camp, it would be huge. And there'd be no room because this camp would then run into this camp. So really the only way to do what is kind of being said here would actually be the camps Judah forms closest, and then you're moving further away to the east. Issachar and Zebulun. Reuben is the closest to the tabernacle. And then you have Simeon and Gad moving away. On the west side, Ephraim is closest to the tabernacle. And then next to him, Manasseh and Benjamin. And then on the north side of the camp, I have a picture in my Bible, go figure, that I hand drew. I had to flip the page. That would have been so much easier. North side is Dan, and next to him is Asher and Naphtali. And so there we have all the camps. And I just noticed a little handwritten note I have here. If you want to find your family and find your way home, you just need to find God, which is kind of true. You find the tabernacle, and now you're oriented and you know which way to go to find your way home. These are the numbers, verse 32, of those who are numbered in the children of Israel by their fathers' houses, all according to their armies and the forces were 603,550. But the Levites are not numbered among them, the children of Israel, just the Lord commanded. Thus the children of Israel did according to all the Lord commanded Moses. They camped by their standards, by those banners. And so they broke camp, each one by his family, according to their family's houses. So, I mean, that's chapter 3 of the book of Numbers. But what's fun is when you start digging. So I tried my best, and again, it's all reverse. I got to see if there's a way to reverse this camera. I probably can't. No, what if I click this button? What does that do? Mic, front facing, wait, flip, front. Oh, I did it. Do I look different now? Well, watch this. So now if you look at my Bible, right there, you actually can see I tried to draw out the different sizes and try and have them represented appropriately, and I wrote the numbers of how many people. But what you'll notice is it forms a cross. Kind of cool. So here's this cross out there in the wilderness outside of Mount Sinai, and the only other thing I don't know how to do on my phone here would be how to screen share with you. But if you want to, if you're curious where this formation took place, if that really interests you, well then I would advise, if you go into my reels, my videos and pictures from when I was in Saudi Arabia, on Mount Sinai is the cave of Elijah. Elijah flees and he goes to Mount Sinai, and that's where the Lord speaks to him in the still small voice, right? Not in the fire, not in the wind, not the still small voice. Well, the cave is there, and the cave faces the plain where the Israelite encampment was. In fact, in between the cave and the encampment is the golden calf altar. And so if you come out of that cave, you look, and there's this huge, big, flat field. And you're in an area that's got a lot of mountains and a lot of stuff. So this is a big, huge parade field, you might say. And so if you watch the video, if you're looking out, I come out of the cave, kind of to the left, because I think I scanned far right and far left. Kind of towards the left, you'll see kind of a good-sized hill and another hill, and right through the middle of that is where the big encampment area is. So, yeah, fun stuff. I got a little bit of dirt I put in a Ziploc bag and brought it back from that encampment, just for memory's sake. Now, it's not just the fact that it makes a cross, and that's where it's located, but here's the other cool thing. I do have this elsewhere. Right here. So what you find is all the tribes, they all had different banners. They had things that represented them. And now, these things have been, over time, you might just say, they may have changed over time. You know, they once were represented by this, then they get represented by that. But Judah has always been represented by the lion of the tribe of Judah. That's something that has stuck with them. Now, Reuben is often a man. So we have Reuben, a man, and Ephraim, an ox. I think those are the ones that make the most sense. Now, Dan, on the other hand, Dan has been represented by a few different things. Dan has been represented by a snake. I think in that picture, it is a snake. Sometimes there's some who believe you can make an argument that the Antichrist will come out of Dan. And so there's some negativity there with Dan. But Dan has also been represented by the eagle. So if we're going with the eagle on this one, what we're going to find is on the four sides, the tribe that is the closest to the tabernacle, their banner would be that of a lion, a man, an ox, and an eagle. And Ezekiel 1:10, Revelation 4:7, when it describes the cherubim that surround the throne of God, the cherubim have 5 faces, of a lion and a man and an ox and an eagle. And so it's kind of cool how the 4 Gospels, they say, you can go through and actually see how they're represented in there. In Matthew, the lion of the tribe of Judah. In Mark, the servant, the ox. In Luke, it is the Son of Man, the man. And John, the eagle, the son from heaven, the king of the heavens, you might say. So cool stuff in there. But these are all interesting things. But it's these little details that are just fun and just show how the Bible is divinely inspired and God has a plan. And it's one of those things like, I don't think you can make this stuff up. I don't think over thousands of years as they're writing this book that people are just going to come up with all these little quirks and make sure to include them. But a divine creator who knows all things, well, he can include this kind of stuff. And so there you go. Some nuggets out of Numbers chapter 2. God bless you guys, and we will see you guys Monday morning. Adios.